Generally, students find the topic data interpretation quite tough, but the fact is it is one of the most easiest topic. The only thing is that you need to keep in mind few do's and don'ts, and you can easily score good marks in this unit as well, or from this topic as well. Hi everyone, I'm Megha and welcome to UGC NET with Megha. In this video, we are going to take up the topic data interpretation. So what do we understand by data? Data is basically an organized information, that is the information which is presented to us in a certain manner or a format is known as data. And when you use this data to generate certain information or analyze something, then it is known as data interpretation. Data can be of 6 types. One is qualitative data, the data which takes into consideration only the qualitative aspects, like whether the food is good, bad or worst or best. That is the qualitative aspect of that food. So you have taken all those qualitative attributes, so it is known as qualitative data. Next is quantitative data. So it takes only into consideration the numerical aspects of the data, that is the quantity. For example, taking into consideration the height of all the students in a class. So this height is a quantitative data. Next type of data is continuous data. This is the data which can be represented in the form of fraction or decimals, like weight of individual. You can definitely write 58.25 kg, and so this is known as continuous data. Next type of data is discrete data. In this data, the figures are represented in the integer format only, whether positive or negative, but they are complete whole numbers. That is, the quantities are not represented in fractions or in decimals. Example, if you collect a data of total number of students in various schools of a city, so this total number of students cannot be represented. Okay, there are 6000.25 students in a school. There will be either 6000 or there would be 6001 students. Next type of data is geographical data. So geographical data is the data which relates to a particular geographical location or topography. For example, the total number of people living in Delhi, total number of people living in Jaipur. So this is known as geographical data. That is, you have collected the data on the basis of geographical locations. And the last type of data is temporal data, which relates to a specific time period. That is, this data is for a specific time period. You can say, for example, between 2014 to 2015, the total number of engineers in India were this much. Then 2015 to 2016, the engineers were this much, and so on. So this type of data is known as temporal data, where time is the basis for collection of data. Now we are going to understand the certain do's and don'ts which are related to this topic, data interpretation. So the very first and the foremost important don'ts is that you do not have to use your calculators while you are practicing for this chapter, because it is not easy to calculate on pen and paper method if you do not practice. That is, if you think right now we can use calculator on the day of exam, any which ways we have to do it on pen and paper, so we'll do it. No, it won't happen in one single day. You need to practice regularly in order to increase your speed. So if you don't have that habit, you will lose out on time and thus majority portion of your paper as well. Second thing that you need to keep in mind is that do not attempt this question if you think it requires detailed calculation at the first instance only. So read the question, see if it requires a lot of calculation, skip the question for the time being, move to other questions, that is, complete your paper 1, paper 2, and then come back to this topic and start solving. Next thing that you are not required to do is that If you have already started solving the question and spent 5 minutes of your time then and still not able to come to any of the answers, leave the question then and there itself, move to the other sections, complete both the papers, and then if you're left with time, come back to this portion. Otherwise, in order to save 5 questions, you might miss out on 10 to 20 questions. So that would be a huge loss. Now I'll be discussing the do's. So there are few things when you are doing this particular topic, that is data interpretation, in your exam, that you need to keep in mind. So first thing that you need to keep in mind is that it is not necessary to complete all the 5 questions of data interpretation, because it is one of the most time consuming topic in your paper as compared to the other topics. So do not try and attempt each and every question of data interpretation, because till the time you solve these questions, you might solve another question within 30 to 40 seconds. So you have to pick up any 3 to 2 questions which are easily solvable, or at times the answer is within the question itself. So you can easily pick up the options. The 3 questions out of 5 are quite simple and can be solved with the few shortcuts that you need to keep in mind. The first shortcut is that you are not required to add, subtract, multiply or divide entire thing. If you are given data of years and you have to perform any sort of function like addition, subtraction, multiplication or division, perform it on units place only. Do not perform on the entire digits. Like for example, you are given the sales for 5 years. For example, like 300, 400 and 560, then 735, 788 and so on. Your data is given like this. So now what you will do, you will not add up this entire thing. What you will do is you will take up the units place and add them up. So right now we have only 2 digits at units place. So 5 plus 8 is 13. So 1 carried forward. So this 3 at your units place is the constant. Now it will not change. It will remain unique no matter what is the answer coming for the adding of the tens place and the hundreds place. So simply add this units place and see if there are options which are ending with this digit. There might be one option, there might be 2 options. If there is one option, then that is definitely your answer. But if there are 2 options which are ending with 3, then you have only 2 options to focus on. The other 2 will get eliminated. Now next thing what you will do is you will solve for the tens place, and tens place is generally unique for in both the numbers. So with the tens place you can easily make out, okay, this one is the correct answer. So this is the first thing that you need to keep in mind, and you need to keep in practice as well while you are solving the data interpretation questions. Next thing that you need to keep in mind is when you are required to calculate, for example, increase in sales, that is you have to give it in percentage, and the numerator is constant, only the denominator is changing. Let me explain. For example, your change in sales is constantly 100, but the denominator is changing like 200. For the next year it is going 300, and for the another year it is 400 and so on. So now your data has changed, that is the denominator has changed for every year, but the numerator is constant. So keep in mind, the smaller the numerator, the larger would be the answer. So for example, in this case 200 is the smallest denominator, so the largest answer would come out from here itself. And you have to mark this year as the highest increase in sales year. That was the second point. That is, if you see that your numerators are constant throughout and only the denominators are changing, pick up the denominator with the lowest value, and that would give you the greatest of answers. So without actually taking out the percentages, you can easily make out what year was it. Now another thing that you need to keep in mind is read the question very carefully, because at times you are not required much of the calculation. Just by reading the question thoroughly you can opt the answer, because the answers are very clear and very prompt. So this mistake generally the students do in exam is that they simply read the question and start solving without even giving it a thought or looking at the options. Just make it a practice that you see the questions and on the options together, understand it, and then if it at all requires calculation, then only jump into the calculation part. Next thing that you need to bring in your practice is that read the question in one go thoroughly. Don't do it that like you're reading the question, then solving half, then again going back to the question, then solving half. So in this manner, you lose your entire flow and the calculations might go wrong. So make sure that you are reading the question thoroughly. So the next thing that you need to keep in mind is that if you are required to calculate averages, so what you will do is you will take the common term out of all the given numbers if it is possible. Then take that common term out and then add the remaining numbers and divide that by the total number of observations. So you will get the mean number and add it to that common factor. So that will make your calculations fast. Let me show this to you with an example. For example, the figures that are given to you is 5075, 5125, 5350, 5445. So now this is the trend that has been given to you, and you can easily see that you can subtract 5000 out of this. All the years have 5000 common, so you have taken 5000 in common, and then you will take the sum of this, that is 125 plus 75, 200, 200 plus 350 is 550, 550 plus 400 would be 950, plus 45 would give us 995. So the total here is 995, and now you simply need to divide it by 4. So this would make your calculation faster, and whatever the answer comes out, you will add it to 5000. So that will give you the average value. Another thing that you need to keep in mind is that instead of calculating the percentages in actual, that is if you are given a question that 1263 is what percentage of 4579. So instead of actually solving and taking out the percentage, you can simply use the common percentages and come to know the range in which the your answer would be lying, and then see the options. If there is one answer only in that range, that would be your answer. If it doesn't, then a bit of calculation here and there, and you can easily make out that which one is your answer. I'll just show you with the help of an example. So let's take the same example only. 1263 is what percentage of 4579. So this is the number. Now what you will do is you will calculate 10%, 5%, 50%, 20% and 1% of this number, because these calculations are the most simplest one, and on the basis of that you can get an idea that what would be the exact answer. So for example, the 10% of this given number would be 457.9. If you talk about 1%, so see, when you calculate 10% and 1%, it is very simple. Copy the same number and put decimal as many less zeros are there. For example, the percentage is 10, so put decimal after one digit, that is after units place. If percentage is 1, put decimal after 2 digits, that is after tens place. So this would be your 1%, 45.79. Now coming to 20%. So for 20%, you simply need to double the quantity and put decimal after the units place, that is after one digit. So the double the quantity, 9 plus 9 is 18 and 7 plus 7 is 14 plus 1 15. Carry forward 1, so 5 plus 5 is 10 plus 1 11, 4 plus 4 is 8 plus 1 9. So this is 9158, that is the double the quantity. Now you simply need to put one decimal after the units place, so this would give us 20% of the given figure. Now for 50%, you simply need to divide it by 2, that is half of it. So divide it by 2, 2 2s are 4, then again 2 2s are 4, and since it is 17, so 2 8s are 16, 2 9s are 18.5. So 2289.5 is the 50%. Now if you are required to calculate 5%, you can simply shift the decimal after tens place. So 228.95 is the 5%. So these are the basic calculations of percentages and simpler ones, and using this you can easily find out that what percentage was 1263 of 4579. So just you need is more practice to this topic and you'll be thorough with this topic. That was all for this video. Thank you for watching this video and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. If you want me to cover any particular topic, you can leave your comments in the comment section, and for more details on our online course, visit our website www.ugcnetwithmegha.com, and the link for the website is given in the description below. And for regular updates, follow us on our social media handles.